My name is Jessica. I am 24 years old. I live in a small city, but I know many people here. I am a social girl. I like to talk and I like to laugh. I have many friends, and I spend a lot of time with them. Sometimes we go to the park, sometimes to a bar, and sometimes to a club. I never like to sit at home for too long, but I also have my quiet side. When I am alone, I like to watch anime. I like to see Japanese shows because they are funny and colorful. I also like video games. I play for hours when I feel bored. Most people think I am just a party girl, but I have more sides. I can stay home with a drink and play games all night. One day, I started yoga class. I wanted to try something new. My friend said it was fun, and I also wanted to be more healthy. The class was full of people, some girls, some men. It was hard for me to stay quiet, but I tried. I sat on my mat and I looked around. That was when I saw him. His name was John. At first, John looked very quiet. He stayed at the back of the class. He listened to the teacher and did not talk much. I thought he was shy, but he looked nice. He had kind eyes, and he looked serious when he did the yoga moves. After class, I went with some friends to get a drink, but John was also there, standing by the door. He looked like he wanted to say something but was not sure. I smiled at him. He smiled back. That was how we first spoke. He said, "This class is hard. My arms hurt." I laughed. "Yes, it is hard, but it will get better." It was a small talk, but I remembered it. I did not see John as one of my party friends. He was different. He seemed more quiet, more careful, but he was also nice. The next week, we talked again after class. This time, it was about hobbies. He asked me what I liked to do. I told him I liked to go out with friends, but I also liked anime and games. His face changed when I said games. "You play games?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "I play often. I like many kinds. Do you?" He smiled, and for the first time I saw a spark in his eyes. "Yes, I play a lot. I like to talk about games, but not many people understand me." I felt happy. Finally, someone in the class who liked what I liked. I thought maybe we could be friends. Maybe more. In the days after that, John and I spoke more often. We stayed after yoga to talk. Sometimes it was about games. Sometimes it was about shows we liked. He told me about the new games that were coming soon. I told him about the shows I was watching. At first it was easy. I liked the way he listened. Many people just wait for their turn to talk. But John looked at me and listened to every word. It made me feel important. One evening, he asked if I wanted to meet outside class. I said yes. We went to a small cafe. It was quiet, not like the places I usually went, with my friends. But it was nice. We sat and talked for a long time. I learned more about him. He liked sports. He liked history and politics too. He liked to talk about big ideas, things that I did not always know about. but I liked to hear him speak. He had energy when he talked. He cared about what he said. I told him about my friends and my life. He smiled at my stories. He laughed when I told him about the silly things we did at parties. I thought maybe we were different, but that was not always bad. When I went home that night, I felt excited. I wanted to see him again. I thought maybe this could be something special. We met again soon. This time, we went for a walk in the park. The air was cool and the trees were green. We walked slowly and talked. John told me more about his past, his family, and his hobbies. I told him more about mine. We were learning about each other step by step. That night when I was in bed, I thought about him. I thought about his eyes, his smile, and the way he looked at me when I spoke. It felt nice. I felt warm inside. The next weeks passed quickly. We saw each other often, sometimes at class, sometimes outside. We watched a movie together. We played a game together one weekend. I felt close to him, but I also started to see small things. He liked to talk about history and government. I did not know much about those things. When he spoke, I smiled and listened, but I could not add much. I worried if he thought I was not smart enough. Still, he never made me feel bad. He said, "I like when you listen. You make me feel like my words matter." That made me happy. I told him, "I like when you smile. You look different, softer." He laughed and said I made him smile more than before. It felt good. It felt like maybe this was the start of something. I thought maybe I had found someone who could see more of me than just the girl who loved parties. At the same time, I started to spend less time with my other friends. They asked me, "Where are you these days, Jessica?" I only smiled and said, "I am busy." In truth, I was busy with John. I did not know where it was going, but I felt excited. I had not felt this way before. Maybe this was love, I thought. Maybe John was the one. Before I continue my story, please subscribe, share, and tell me where you are listening from. Your support means a lot to me. Now let's continue. The first months with John were nice. We saw each other often. I was happy when I was with him. We laughed, we shared stories, and we played games together. It felt new and fun. I thought maybe this was real love. He was not like other men I had known. He was not loud or too proud. He was calm and careful. He liked to think before he spoke. He did not drink much, and he did not go out often. At first, I liked that. It made him different from my other friends. One Saturday, he came to my apartment. I made food, and we played games on my console. We laughed so much when we both lost. He said, "You are better than I thought." I smiled and said, "You are not as good as you said." We laughed again. It felt simple. But later that night, he wanted to talk about sports. He asked, "Do you watch baseball?" I shook my head. "Not really." He asked again, Basketball? I said, No. I like dancing in clubs, not sports. He looked a little sad but tried to smile. I like to watch with someone. Maybe one day you can try. I agreed, but in my heart I knew I was not interested. The next week, he told me about history. He spoke about old wars and leaders. I listened, but I did not understand much. When he finished, I said, That is nice. He smiled, but I felt he wanted more from me. He wanted me to talk back, but I could not. I did not know enough. I started to feel a small wall between us. We had games, yes. We had fun, yes. But when he wanted to talk deep, I could not join. I felt quiet. He looked a little lonely when I could not say much. One evening I asked him, Do you think I am not smart? He looked at me, surprised. No, never. You are smart in your own way. You know people. You know how to have fun. I like that about you. His words helped me, but I still felt unsure. Another time we went to a bar with my friends. I wanted him to meet them. I was excited to show him my world. My friends were loud and happy. They laughed, they sang, they danced. I was in my element. But John sat quiet. He smiled, but he did not join much. One of my friends asked me later, Why is he so quiet? Does he not like us? I did not know what to say. When the night ended, John walked me home. He said, Your friends are nice, but I felt lost. I did not know what to say. I touched his hand and said, It is okay. You are different. That is why I like you. He smiled, but I saw a little worry in his eyes. The weeks passed. Sometimes we were very close. Sometimes we were far. He tried to bring me into his world with sports and books. I tried to bring him into mine with parties and friends, but it did not always work. One weekend, he asked me to join him at a baseball game. I said yes, even if I did not like sports. I wanted to make him happy. We sat in the big stadium. People cheered, music played, and the game started. He was excited. He explained the rules to me. I tried to listen, but after some time I felt bored. I looked at the people around, not the game. He looked at me and asked, Are you okay? I said, Yes, I am fine. But he knew I was not. Later he said, You do not like it, do you? I felt bad. No, I am sorry. I tried. He touched my hand. It is okay. I am glad you came. His words were kind, but I felt I had failed him. After that, I wanted to show him my world again. I asked him to come dancing. He agreed. We went to a club. The music was loud. The lights were bright. I danced with him. I laughed and moved to the music. But he did not. He stayed close to the side. He said, This is too loud for me. I felt sad. I wanted him to join, but he could not. When we went home, he said, "I am sorry. I am not good at this." I said, "It is okay. You tried." But inside, I felt the same as he did at the baseball game. We were different. Too different. Still, we tried again and again. We had good days too. We had long talks about shows we liked. We had nights with games and pizza. We had walks in the park. Those times felt real. They felt close. But each time, I felt a shadow. I felt that our connection was only strong when we stayed inside the small space of games and shows. Outside of that, we had less to share. One evening, I looked at him and asked, "Do you think this will last?" He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "I do not know. I like you, Jessica. I like you a lot. But sometimes I feel we are too different." My heart hurt a little when he said that, but I also knew it was true. I did not want to lose him. I wanted to believe we could work. So I said, "We can try. We can learn more about each other." He smiled and said, "Yes, let's try." So we kept going. We still met for class. We still went out sometimes. But I could feel the small space between us grow bigger. I felt like I was holding something in my hands, but it was slipping away. I started to think at night, was this real love? Or was this just a hobby we shared? Did he see me as someone he could love for a long time, or just for now? The answers did not come, but the questions stayed. And deep inside, I started to fear the end. The day came when I could no longer hide my feelings. I felt it for many weeks. The space between John and me grew larger. It was like a small crack in glass that grew every day. I wanted to stop it, but I could not. One evening we met again after yoga class. He asked me if I wanted to get coffee. I said yes, even if my heart was heavy. We sat in a quiet cafe. The smell of coffee filled the room. He looked at me, and I could see the tired look in his eyes. He started to talk about a new book he was reading. I tried to listen, but my mind was far. I was not thinking about the book. I was thinking about us. I looked at his face, his smile, and I asked myself if I could see my life with him in the future. When he finished speaking, he looked at me and said, "You are very quiet tonight. Is something wrong?" I took a deep breath. "John, do you think we can really last?" He looked at me with surprise. He did not speak for a moment. Then he put his cup down. "I don't know, Jessica. I like you. I like you very much. But sometimes I feel we are not going the same way." His words hit me like a stone. I wanted him to say something else. I wanted him to say, "Yes, of course we will last." But he did not. He told me the truth, and I already knew it. I felt my eyes burn, but I held back the tears. I said, "I feel the same. I wanted this to work. I wanted to believe it. But when we are together, we only talk about games and shows. Outside of that, we are strangers. He touched my hand. You are not a stranger to me. You are important to me. But maybe we cannot give each other what we need. I felt my throat close. I wanted to speak, but the words were hard. So, what do we do now? He looked down. Maybe it is better to stop here before we hurt each other more. I felt like the world stopped. I wanted to scream. I wanted to say no, but I only whispered, "Is this goodbye?" He nodded slowly. I think it is. That night, I walked home alone. The streets were quiet, but my heart was loud. Every step felt heavy. When I reached my apartment, I sat on my bed and cried. I cried for hours. I cried because I liked him. I cried because I thought maybe he was the one. I cried because love ended before it could grow. The days after the breakup were hard. I woke up and reached for my phone, but there were no messages from him. I went to yoga class, but I did not see him there anymore. Or maybe he was there, but he stayed far away from me. I did not have the courage to look. At night, I stayed home. I turned on the TV, but I did not watch. I started games, but I could not play. Every sound, every picture reminded me of him. My friends called me. They asked me to go out. At first I said no. I did not want to laugh or dance. I wanted to stay alone. But they did not give up. One Friday they came to my door. Jessica, they said, we are going out. You are coming with us. I smiled a little, even if my heart was not ready. I went with them to a bar. The music played, people talked, the lights were bright. I tried to laugh. I tried to dance. For a short time, I even forgot. But when I came home, I remembered again. The silence brought him back to my mind. Weeks passed. The pain was still there, but it started to change. It was not sharp anymore. It was softer, but it stayed. I told myself, you must accept it. It is over. One evening, I sat alone with a glass of water and my console. I started a game that John and I once played together. At first I wanted to stop. It felt too hard. But then I thought, no, this is my game too. It is not only his. So I played. I played for hours. Slowly, I started to feel joy again. Another day, I was at a small shop and saw a book. I smiled, because it reminded me of him. He always told me to read more. So I bought it. At home, I tried to read. It was not easy for me, but I gave it a chance. For the first time, I felt like I was doing it for myself, not for him. I started to see a new truth. Love can be sweet, but it can also be short. Sometimes people meet and feel close, but it does not mean they will last. I thought John was the one, but he was only part of my story, not the whole story. One night, I looked at myself in the mirror. My face was tired, but I saw a new light in my eyes. I said to myself, Jessica, You loved and you lost, but you are still here. You are still strong. After that, I began to go out more. I met my friends again. I laughed again. I danced again. I was not the same as before, but I was not broken anymore. Sometimes I still thought of John. I thought of his smile when we played games. I thought of his serious face when he spoke of history. I thought of the quiet walks we had. But I also remembered the silence between us, the moments when we could not find words. I did not hate him. I could not. He did not lie to me. He did not hurt me with bad words. He was just not meant for me. Months later, I went back to yoga class. The teacher smiled at me. The room was full of people. I saw new faces. I looked around but did not see John. For a moment I felt sad. But then I thought, it is okay. Life goes on. At the end of class, I packed my mat and walked out. The air outside was fresh. I felt light. I was still single, but I was not empty. I was full of my own life again. I learned something important. Love is not only about finding the same hobbies. Love needs more. Love needs understanding, patience, and the feeling that you can share your world fully. John and I did not have that, but maybe one day I will find someone who does. Until then, I will live my life. I will laugh with my friends. I will dance when I want. I will play games and watch anime. And maybe, just maybe, I will meet someone who will not only play with me, but also stand beside me in every part of my world. I still remember John with kindness. He was my first try at real love. It did not last, but it taught me something. Love can come, and love can go. But life goes on, and so do I. We all go through hard times, but stories like this can help us feel seen. Thank you for watching, and come back for more real moments.